They're billionaires right now thinking about jumping off a bridge. They have all the money in the world. And when you realize that it's not really the money that creates the happiness, money will never stop. Like J. Cole said, money keeps going. Genuine love is really what you're trying to attain. If you're trying to attain money, it never stops. When you get $1 million, you're gonna want 2 million. When you get 3 million, you're gonna want 6 million. So the more you chase money, the more you realize it'll never make you happy.
Welcome to the Laventure X Podcast, where we explore the hero's journey. We have a special guest today. He's half of the Demesmin Dover Law Firm. He's also one of the owners of the All In Sports Agency. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my brother, Victor Demesmin.
Thanks for having me, brother. Thanks.
It's been a minute, man. How are you?
It's been a minute. I can't remember the last time. I don't remember exactly when it was that we last saw each other. I know it was at my office, but a lot's been going on since. You know, my family's good. You know, I've got 3 kids now, and family's growing. The firm's growing. Everything that we're doing is growing. So I've been good. I've been blessed, and you know, I feel like I'm serving in my purpose, which is great.
Before we start every single show, we have some Sick Etoile.
Yes.
Some Haitian rum, some
the Haitian
cool.
way.
Oh, have a toast,
My friend.
Have a quick toast, brother. Here's to a great conversation.
Yes.
Woo!
Sir.
So we have a finite amount of time. I'm
Okay.
going to jump right into it because I want to talk about a lot of things. So I'm going to start a little bit earlier. So I remember you went to you went to law school at
LSU.
Okay.
Louisiana State University, undergrad, University of Central Florida.
Okay, UCF is where I met you. I think, I could be wrong, but I remember when you, after law school, I remember seeing you start a law firm, I think, with your dad. Was it?
Kind of. So
Was it real estate or something like that?
Kind of. So the whole thing was I only went to law school because my dad wanted me to go to law school so we could start a title company. That was the main reason why I went to law school.
Okay.
Right. I was already passionate about the law, and I was in mock trial at UCF and things like that. But my dad was like, yo, you know, my dad's been doing real estate over 20 years, 30 years, since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Right. Real estate broker, insurance broker, mortgage broker, right? All 3. So the only thing we were missing was the title aspect of it. So it could be like really like a one-stop shop. So he's like, go to law school and, you know, we'll start up a title company. I was like,
Love it.
okay. You know, I already had my real estate license because he made me get it. I had my mortgage license, he made me get it. So I was like, all right, I'll go to law school. So I ended up going to law school. And then when I graduated from law school, my dad's like, yo, are you ready to start this law firm? I was like, no. Like, they don't teach you in law school how to start a law firm. Like, a lot of people think you go there and you learn how to start a law firm, but you don't. You know, you it's like how you think, and like thinking outside the box, and you know, going over case law, like that changed the law for the United States, like those things.
Yeah.
So I ended up working at a firm. So I told him I'm gonna go work at a firm for a couple months. The goal was to work at the firm for 4 months. I had it all planned out. I was gonna work at a firm for 4 months, and after 4 months, I was gonna leave. And then me and my dad, we were going to start our thing. Obviously, my dad's not a lawyer, but he was going to do the real estate part, and I was going to do the title, or whatever the case may be. And I ended up staying at that firm for about 3.5 years, 4 years. So everything kind of changed. And then after those 4 years, that's when I felt comfortable to go off on my own.
That's the biggest thing I got when we linked up, and you told me the intriguing story about how you started your law firm, some of the hardships you kind of went through and doing some of those. Without getting too deep into it, because I want to jump into some other things, into branding and stuff like that, but talk briefly, if you can, about your decision to leave your law firm and how you decided to do it, the preparations you made before you left the law firm.
Yeah, I mean, similar to you, it was pretty hard. You know, I was very close with those individuals of that law firm. They were the first group to give me an opportunity, you know what I'm saying? Like a young, Black, Haitian, American working at a all Jewish firm, you know what I mean? So like, it was a big deal, and they're a pretty big firm, and I was able to build a lot of good relationships there, even with the partners there. They were at my daughter's first birthday party, like wedding, everything. Yeah. Right. So I had a great relationship there, but I also knew that I've always wanted, you know, deep down inside, not just me, also my dad. We always wanted to pass on that to go forward with that legacy of Demesmin, right? Yeah. And start our own thing. It was always my passion to have my own firm, right? So it was never anything, you know, against them specifically. It was just that this was my dream of starting my firm. So obviously when I left, they were disappointed. They wanted me to be there. I was I was I don't want to say it the most important thing, but I did bring value.
Was up there.
I brought value to that firm, and I think they also liked me as a person, and I was a very likable person. So they didn't want to see me go, you know what I mean? But I think they knew that it was time for me to go because it was meant for me to.
The writing was on the wall.
You know, the writing was on the wall, and I left on good terms. You know, I did everything that I had to do, you know, the right way. You know, but obviously once you leave, you now become a competitor. So you get that rude awakening, which I was prepared for mentally because I understand business and I understand how people are and how business is. So I was prepared for it. But, you know, there were things that occurred that I didn't expect to happen. But we were able to overcome all those things. And I think it made us stronger. It made us who we are as a firm now. And I learned a lot of good things from that firm. And there were things that, you know, I didn't really like and I didn't want to emulate for my own firm that I chose not to pass on. But there were some good things that I learned, and there were some things that I learned not to do because I didn't like the way that was being done over there. And I made sure that with my firm, I didn't do it that way. But overall, it was a great experience.
In my personal growth and my experience as well, I think the people that I worked with before, I learned so many different things. And I believe, I look at it as a skeleton, right? It's a skeleton model where I see what works, right? Whatever you did, it looks like it works really, really well, but I want to do a little different. And it looks like you've definitely done that, which is how we're going to transition into our next conversation.
Yes.
Okay. You're probably going to be the only lawyer that I will ever have on this show.
Oh man.
Right.
I hope that's a compliment.
This is definitely, no, it's definitely a compliment. It means you're different, right? Okay. Because my wife was kind of like telling me, okay, she's styling me and stuff like that. She was asking me, he's a lawyer. Like, you think he's gonna be like in a suit or something like that? I said, I've never seen this guy in a suit before.
Nope. Unless I'm in court, which is not too often these days. I will be in a suit if I'm in court. But nah, other than that, no, I am not in a suit.
And I think that's what makes you different. I want to put it out there. Definitely the reason why I invited you on this show is because to me, you're not a traditional law firm. And
you want me to put my suit on? I got it in the car.
No, man, you swaggy. I love the swag how it is right now. To me, you're different in not only the way you look, but your emphasis on branding, which is why I want to break down today the importance of branding and how you do it. So let me start by asking you this question. Do you even feel like you set yourself apart from other law firms or traditional law firms?
Yeah, I mean, that was the goal, you know, to be different. To be in my own lane, to be in our own lane, I should say, right? As I've grown and as the firm has grown, I've had numerous people say that, right? That we do things differently. Yeah. And I'm at the point now where I embrace it, right? Like there were certain things that maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago, I'd be like, nah, I can't. I wouldn't walk in here 5 years ago without a suit on, you know, but it's kind of like when you've kind of established yourself and you've proven yourself, I don't have to wear the suit anymore, right? It's I was watching something recently when they were saying usually the most important person in the room is the guy without the suit on. Yeah. Because the guy without the suit is not trying to impress anybody because everything speaks for itself. I don't have to do anything. Now, obviously, if I'm in court, out of respect for the courtroom, things like that, the judge, of course, I come dressed properly for the occasion. But for the most part, you know, I feel like within the last few years, we've been able to establish ourselves in a way where I can be myself. And I embrace being myself and still being able to be successful and do the things that I got to do. So
that's amazing, man. I want to tax so many things you just said. In terms of one, and another quote is, I don't wear suits, but the people who work for me do. So that's the first thing that comes to my mind. But you guys are, as long as I've known you guys are big on content, branding. How important do you think content is right now in building your brand?
In this day and age, it's the most important thing. I mean, at the end of the day, we are in a digital age, right? Nowadays, it's very rare for someone to go on my website. They're more likely to go on my Instagram, right? Yeah. If they want to know what Demesmin Dover is, they go on the Instagram and see what Demesmin Dover is, right? And the Instagram tells a story. And when it comes to branding and marketing, it's storytelling, you know, and maybe that's the reason why people gravitate to us so much is because when we do market, we're actually telling a story. It's almost like when people meet me, they feel like I already know you. Yes. Like, and I'm like, we've never met, but I know you got 3 kids. I know you got your wife. I know you got this. I know you got that. Yeah. And that's done, I don't want to say strategically, but it's me opening up to the world of who I truly am because me as a person is also part of my branding, right? People may want to come to my office because they hear my daughter on the radio, right? Because that may touch the heartstrings a little bit, right? I have people that call in to the office just to speak. They don't have an accident. They just want to talk to me. They want to hear my voice because they hear me on the radio, right? Which I mean, when we first did it, I didn't think that's what would happen, but it's come to that point where, people are intrigued by what we're doing and the content that we're providing. And even the content we're providing, I try to make sure that it's content that is purposeful and also useful to the person that's watching it, right? It's not just any kind of content. I want people to look at it and either they learn something from it or they feel something from it. And Maya Angelou always said, people don't remember what you did or what you said, but they always remember how you made them feel. So like, that's why even with my marketing, if you watch it, it's different than most attorneys. I'm not like, oh, we got you $1 million. Or like, I don't have a billboard with a check. Like, you know what I mean? It's more heartfelt. It's more relatable. It's more real, and even on the stations, I know it pisses a lot of people off, right? But I don't want to say people, but some of the attorneys, because I'm able to actually connect with my people. And I have commercials that are saying that, right? Because you have these, other, I don't want to say races, but like people that are coming from other places, right? Yeah. That are coming into the inner city or coming in to try to connect with our people, the Haitian people. And they're only doing it because they're trying to get something from that, right? But I'm only doing it because I actually care about our people. I want to make sure that our people are protected. I want to make sure that our people, know what they're getting themselves into before they do anything. So for me, I've always tried to do business the right way. Never chased money at all. I've always been just passionate about what I'm doing, passionate about serving the community. And I tell people all the time that if you're passionate about something, if you do something the right way, money will always come. Absolutely. So that should be the last thing you chase. Absolutely. What you should chase is your dreams, your goals, and try to make other people better. And that's what I strive to do every day.
Talk a little bit about that workflow. What's your overall approach to marketing and your investment in it overall?
Yeah, I mean, so people ask this too. That's a great question because the marketing that we do is different than any other kind of marketing, right? If I'm marketing for legal services, and I don't hope my clients get hurt, but obviously if they get hurt, they're going to call me. But the problem is the way I market is different than I see Oreos over there, Oreos, right? Yeah. Or McDonald's or Burger King. If I'm McDonald's or Burger King and I'm advertising to you, you can be hungry. You're going to get hungry 3, 4, 5 times a day, right? Yeah. You may not get in a car accident for 20 years. Hopefully. Knock on wood. I haven't been in an accident since my freshman year of high school, literally. And I'm an accident attorney. I haven't been in an accident, right? So the way I have to market is I have to market in a way that when that day finally comes, you remember me, right? So the marketing is completely different than the marketing I do is different than like Pollo Dramaca or like any of these other, a spa, like your wife may want to go to a spa tomorrow. Yeah. So you hear a spa advertisement, you're jumping right on it. You hear my advertisement, you probably won't need me for 20 years. Yeah. But if I'm redundant and I'm in your head all the time and I'm saying things that actually relate to you or things that impact you or things that, make you remember me, then when that time comes or when it comes to a family member or whoever, you're going to say, call Demesmin Dover, right? So we don't only advertise and to answer your question now, we don't only advertise on social media because our clientele is everybody. Yeah. Right? Like, even though we have a demographic, but I can't advertise to the 80-year-old on Instagram. Yeah. Right? They don't have Instagram. So I've got to find a way to get to them too. I can't advertise to maybe the 20-year-old the way I would advertise to an 80-year-old. Exactly. So the radio, for example, I do the radio, but there are a lot of my friends that's like, yo, Vic, I hear you but I don't listen to the radio, so I never hear your commercials.
I've never heard it. Like, outside of me doing my research, I don't think we just listen to our podcasts and radios and stuff like that. But
so if you don't listen to radio, you won't hear my advertising. Yeah. You won't hear my advertisement. But if you listen to the radio, you can't turn on the radio without hearing Demesmin Dover. Exactly. Right. So now how do I get to my Haitian people? Okay, well, this past weekend we were at the block party. The block party for the March 1st. They had a block party in Little Haiti. Okay. That we were doing for all the Haitians. You know what I'm saying? If we want to tap into the Jamaican crowd, we go to Jerk Fest or something like that. Yeah. If we want to tap into the country people, we go to Rip Roundup, which we were at this past weekend. If we want to tap into the young millennials and all these, we do Rolling Loud. We've been doing Rolling Loud for 3 years. Right.
That's funny. I was about to jump into that as well because I remember the first time I was like, what the hell? I was working an activation with a friend for Spotify at Rolling Loud, and I'm like, Demesmin Dover, damn. And out of nowhere, I started seeing Demesmin Dover everywhere. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So obviously you're all over the place, man. So tell me about the first time you got into like a really big sponsorship where you were like, okay, it's worth the money to do because long term the marketing is important.
Well, the first thing that we did was the radio.
Okay.
The very, very first, and I don't know if you consider that sponsorship, but as advertisement, the first thing that we did was radio. Yeah. And the reason why we did radio was because honestly, that's what all the personal injury attorneys are doing.
Yeah.
Right? And I've got to compete with some of these guys. So the only way I can compete is to start putting myself on the radio. Mm-hmm. Now, the issue that a lot of people have with the radio is they advertise on the radio for 2-3 months and they think they're going to get a call.
Yeah.
So they put in like 2 months of advertising and they're sitting there by the phone like, somebody's going to call me. Yeah. That's not how it works. Mm-hmm. We didn't get our first phone call from the radio till about maybe 11 months later. Mm-hmm. And the only reason, shout out to my girl Stacy, she's probably never gonna see this, but I gotta give her a shout out because she lives actually in Texas now, but she used to work for the radio back then. And she told me, she's like, Vic, I promise you, I've been in radio for 20 plus years. You just have to stick with it. Stick with it.
Yeah.
You're not gonna see it, but stick with it. The mistake that everybody makes is they do it for like 4 or 5 months and they leave. Stick with it and you will finally start seeing like the fruits of your labor. Mm-hmm. And then she was right. Like after a year, and that's when they started coming in. 2 years, and then all of a sudden now you become a household name. Mm-hmm. And then now when you're advertising on the radio, now everybody's hitting you up because I don't know if you know how it works in that world. They just go on a website and it tells you Demesmin and Dover spent $100,000 on radio last month. So now they're like, oh, this guy's spending money on the radio. Let's hit him up. Let's cold call him and see if he could sponsor Rolling Loud. Mm-hmm. Let's see if he could sponsor Inner Miami. And then all of a sudden now all the sponsorships and all the advertisements and all the opportunities are starting to, they're calling you to the point where I'm like not wanting to answer the phone. I'm like, oh my God, I just want to chill, like, you know. But they all know that now you're spending money, and then now they're reaching out to you.
And what makes you decide to say yes, this is a good investment? I'm going to go ahead and do it.
Experience. So at first I was saying yes to everything. I was like, yes, just do it. But then after a while, you start realizing like, no, that's not going to work. Like, no, that's too expensive. No, that might work for Oreos, but it's not going to work for Demesmin and Dover, right? And after, trial and tribulation, you start learning how to market better. You know what I mean? And I tell people I'm still learning. As people come to me all the time, like, oh, I'm like, no, I'm still learning. I'm learning as I go.
That's important.
Yeah, and people have to understand, like, I haven't mastered it. You know what I'm saying? There are people that have been doing it for 20 years that still haven't mastered it. You know why? Because it's always changing. It's always evolving.
Exactly.
Marketing is always changing.
Exactly.
You got these firms that have been marketing for 20 years. You think they're getting used to TikTok now? No. But they better get used to TikTok, because if not, I'm coming and some of the people behind me are coming. Right, so they have to be able to adjust and adapt.
I completely agree. In terms of branding, the investment isn't seen immediately. And the first brand to me that comes to mind is Nike.
Yeah,
a lot of times Nike ads are typically never, and obviously more brands are doing it more, but they're never selling anything directly. Right? Usually it's storytelling, it's lifestyle, it's telling you how to feel. And before you know it, you start realizing that this is branding all in itself, is product placement, right? Like, for example, you'll see a commercial about someone waking up in the morning, going through hardships, and then you realize they ain't got a leg. And then you see that journey and you start realizing, damn, this is brand building. This person talking about perseverance, and before you know it, you just fall in love with the brand. It becomes a lifestyle.
Exactly.
Right? And then now you start to tattoo it into their brain. So if I hear Demesmin and Dover so many times, right, something's happening. Even if it doesn't happen to me, I'm referring someone to you. Or if something happens to me, the first thing that comes into mind is Demesmin and Dover.
Yeah.
So,
but the thing is, as part of creating that brand, like I said, you have to create that personal brand where people are attached to you. Yeah. Right? People are not sending me cases because they hear Demesmin Dover. They're sending cases to me because along with Demesmin and Dover, they're getting to know Demesmin through the branding, to where now they trust Demesmin to take care of their grandma, to take care of their sister, to take care of their mother. Right? So it's a little bit more than just throwing out your name.
Yeah.
You have to attach a story to it. And my story is family man, married, 3 kids. You know what I'm saying? My culture is huge in my firm, treating people the right way, respectful, all those things. When you do all those things, now all of a sudden people are they're not doing business because they hear you. They're doing business because they like you. People don't do business. Me and another firm, we're doing the same thing. The reason why you're choosing me is because of the trust and the way I make you feel when you hear my commercial, right? So it's deeper than that. So you've got to be able to penetrate those feelings, everything, to be able to build that clientele and that trust.
It's an investment. It's 100% an investment. Because the majority of the people that are on this show typically are photographers, videographers, storytellers. Obviously, you're a storyteller in itself as well. But it's very interesting because I talked about at one point, no one even knew who Laventure X was. It was just a cool name. But like we got to a point now where in order to brand and grow your brand the way you want to, you're going to have to personalize it. And what you're explaining, and if I'm hearing correctly, it sounds like people are invested in you now. There's an investment now associated with my actual spending dollar. And I think that's very important, not only in a law firm, that's going to be any kind of brand.
Anything in life.
Anything that you're trying to build financially, and especially in this day and age that we're living in, you can't do the minimum requirement anymore. Like, sometimes you got to put a face to the brand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that's what we've been able to do is put, not just face, but emotions to it, everything.
Yeah.
When you think of Demesmin Dover, you think of so much more, because of the impact that we've had on the community, the impact that we have on little kids. And, we're doing all types of things. We're going to the high schools. We're going to the underprivileged areas and helping people out. All of that costs money, but at the same time, it's fine because, again, that's where I say I'm living in my purpose, because my purpose, people ask me all the time, I'm not just a lawyer. If you asked me what I do, I wouldn't have told you I was a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? I would have told you that I'm a leader. I'm a philanthropist. Like, there's so much more to me than being a lawyer. Yeah. And I think that's kind of what separates us from other people, and I think people feel that,
Absolutely. I love it, man. And as you say us, we're going to transition to our next topic.
Okay.
And whenever you have Demesmin, you can't do it without a Dover.
Yes.
So we're going to have a conversation about partnerships.
Yeah.
And making that an investment in another person to put your name on the building with me. So tell me a little bit about your decision to partner up with your partner, and tell me a little bit about how that relationship works.
Yeah, so when I was at the last firm that I was at before I started mine, I met my partner, Jeremy Dover, business partner, Jeremy Dover, at a in court.
You gotta make sure you clarify.
I'm just saying, I don't want my wife getting mad at me. But yes, I met him in court, actually. And I was at that firm. He was at another firm. And we were looking to actually hire someone. And I told them, like, yo, you should hire this kid. I met him in court. When I first saw him, I thought he was like I was like, who let this kid in the courtroom? I don't know if you ever seen him. He's literally like 5'2", he's 5'5". He'll get mad, but like he's shorter, right? And he looks like he's 12. And I remember seeing him in the courtroom, big old suit, no tie. And I'm like, dude, this guy has no tie on. What is he doing in the courtroom with no tie? And then I talked to him and I realized he was an attorney. And we exchanged numbers and we started hanging out. And every time I would hang out with this kid, well, I shouldn't say kid, but every time I would hang out with Jeremy, he would talk to me about the law. I'm like, bro, I'm not trying to talk about that, bro. I'm just trying to hang out, chill, And then that's when I told my boss at the time, I'm like, yo, this kid's obsessed with it. Like, you should give him an interview. They interviewed him and they're like, yeah, nah, Vic, we're not. I'm like, please, just give him an opportunity, bro. I'm telling you, he's good. They finally listened and they gave him an opportunity. So when he came on board, we actually managed the department together, which was perfect because it allowed me to see how a partnership, and the goal wasn't for me to be partners with him. It's just that over time, I was able to see, how it would work as a partnership with me and him, and he's complete opposite of me. And it's like the yin to the yang, like his weaknesses, and he'll say, I have no weaknesses, but his weaknesses are my strengths, right? And then my weaknesses are his strengths. Yeah. And we're able to balance each other out. And a partnership is just like, you and your wife, right? And me and my wife, you have to treat it as a marriage. Yeah. And if you don't treat it as a marriage, and I've seen it happen before, a partnership will end very quickly. I'm talking about a business partnership will end very quickly. So even like from the very beginning, I always treated it like a marriage. And I would pick my battles, and there are certain things that I would, you have to, and then I would communicate with him, because the last thing I wanted was to start a partnership with him, and it didn't work out over ego or over whatever the case may be. But before I chose him, I remember like when I first met him, I told him, I said, yeah, man, eventually, I'm gonna start my own firm. And he was like, all right, cool, let me know. And I'm like, bro, I just met you, dude. Like, I'm not gonna, like, no. Like, and at the time too, I had so many of my friends that are now having their own firms. You know, I won't name their names, but they wanted to partner up with me.
Yeah.
But for me, choosing a partner wasn't about being with my friend. It was about choosing someone that could help me grow because they had all the strengths that I didn't.
Yeah.
Right. And we were able to bounce off of each other. And I remember when I chose Jeremy to be my partner, everybody was like, bro, why would you choose him? Because when you meet him, we're complete opposites. Right? Yeah. He loves country. He hangs out with a whole different crowd, you know, but when I was choosing a partner, I wasn't choosing to be popular. I was choosing someone that would help me be successful in accomplishing my goals and my dreams. And I felt within those 3 years that I was with him, without the risk of a real partnership, I was able to see those things that other people from the outside couldn't see. So for everyone else, they were like, you're crazy. But to everyone else, I'm like, y'all crazy because y'all don't know what I see.
Yeah.
Right. And now everybody sees what I saw. And it was, thank God, you know, with God's blessing also, we were able to, you know, do the things that we've been able to do over the last few years.
Obviously, to me, building a team is very, very important, right? Especially to grow and expand. You definitely need bodies, willing bodies. But a lot of times you get into a situation where you're trying to find the right partner or whatever like that. You get to a point where you start to settle, or you might find someone who just might be a placeholder. So if for someone who was trying to build a company and was having a hard time finding a partner, would you recommend someone push to get a partner, or would you motivate or tell them to go their separate way if it wasn't working?
So if someone is trying to decide whether or not to find a partner to start a business and they can't find a partner, my advice would be to just start your own business, which is fine, right? You can always start your business, start becoming successful a little bit, and always hire someone to underneath you to do the things that maybe you're not great at or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So I would never let you not finding a partner prevent you from starting your dreams or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, if you find a partner, it's still risky because there are a lot of people that find a partner and think everything's great, and it's not great.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't want people to just think of the partnership thing. Now, the good thing is the difference between marriage and business is obviously to get married, you have to find a partner.
Yeah.
To have a successful business, you don't have to find a partner.
Yeah.
Now, if you do find a partner, yes, it can help, and you know, depending, it can help you guys become more successful, or he can take a little bit of the load, or she can take a little bit of the load off of you. But I don't want people to feel like it's a necessity. If I didn't find Jeremy, I was gonna start my firm anyway.
Yeah.
You know, it was just that it just happened that we were working together, and I was able to see him as a partner, and that made that transition easier.
It's authentic.
Yeah, it was meant to be.
Exactly.
Right? But there are a lot of people that are successful. My friend Josiah Graham, he has his own firm.
Yeah.
You know, and he's on his own, and he's doing his thing. You know, there are quite a few other people that I know that are successful, and they're doing it on their own. Now, would I rather do it on my own, or would I rather do it with a partner? Me personally, I think it's so much cooler when I can share that with someone and bounce ideas off with someone and things like that. But I know plenty of people that are successful on their own, and they just hire the people underneath them.
I don't think, especially in business, you should force anything.
Yeah.
I don't believe you should force anything. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen authentically,
organically,
and it's going to happen in a way where you don't have to force it too much. Because I know for myself, wanting to open up Laventure agency and do it, I just felt at one point it was like it'd be easier to have someone who I can bounce ideas off of, and someone I can build an empire with. And because I didn't want to settle, the right partner came magically in front of me in terms of my wife, who's not my partner, who worked the agency with me authentically.
Yeah.
And we're polar opposites. I thought I needed a business partner that did the same exact thing as me.
That's the worst thing.
And the reality is she does everything that I don't want to do. I'm a drill sergeant. I want it done like this, and she's a butterfly. She just gets it done as she needs to, but she's creative. Obviously with the agency, some of the things that we do, we're really niching into not only the podcast shows, but also influencers, something that she does that's a market for. And when I want to deal with these influencers, she's perfect with them, right?
The worst thing you could do is find a partner that's exactly like you. At least when it comes to business. I mean, relationships might be a little bit different. Like, but as far as business, you want to make sure that that person is going to pick up the slack on the things that you don't want to do. Like I don't like to write. Like, don't get me wrong. Growing up, I like to write and I did poetry and stuff like that. Yeah. And I don't like legal writing and I don't like legal research. But if you put me in front of a judge, if you want me to do a closing argument, if you want me to convince or persuade, I'll do that all day. Yeah. But as far as the actual writing and the legal research, I don't want it. Jeremy loves it. I remember we were the old firm that we were working at. We would draft like motions for summary judgment. Yeah. And it would take me like 3 days. Jeremy would be like, 3 hours later, here you go. I was like, that's why you need to be my partner. I ain't writing those things, but eventually you start learning that in order to be successful, the other side has to be able to pick up the slack. That's why it has to be like the yin and the yang. Perfect. Jeremy doesn't care for like these things, like the podcast and stuff. He'll do it, but it's like, he's not going to be that interesting. Right. But when it comes to legal writing, you need somebody to write you. Get it, Jeremy, he gonna knock it out. You know what I mean?
Last thing you want someone who's competing for the same thing you're trying to do, bro. Yep. Like we're trying to do the same exact thing. So I definitely feel you on that one. I want to shift gears if we can. They're giving me a sign that says 10 minutes. But I want to jump into some of the other ventures that you had. Okay. So the thing that I learned most is that if you build a machine, it will power all of your ideas. And there's so many things that I want to do. At what point in Demesmin Dover, the success that you guys were having, did you decide, I want to open up a health food spot? When did you decide I want to open up all-in sports agency, management agency? When did you get to a point where this thing that I built is able to power all these other ideas that I have?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. Okay. Right. And from the first day when I decided to partner up with Jeremy, I told him, I said, and just like I told you not too long ago, I said, I'm not just a lawyer, bro. And I don't want to just be a lawyer. I don't want to practice law for the rest of my life. Yeah. Like I want to be a lawyer for the rest of my life, but I don't want to practice law for the rest of my life. So us being partners is not us being partners in this law firm. Us being partners means us being partners in business in general. Yeah. So it was one of the things that I told him right away. Obviously it took time for us to be able to do all those other things because I wanted to make sure what we were building with Demesmin and Dover was stable enough for us to venture off and do other things. Yeah. But I have a passion for starting a company, building it to a certain point to where it's self-sustainable and now moving on to the next project, right? So I told Jeremy, hey, once Demesmin and Dover is ready, we're doing other things. We're not putting all of our eggs in one basket. I want to diversify our portfolio as much as possible. So that's when I told him, I said, hey, I got a buddy of mine. His name's Kevin Scott. He's got a Charlie's franchise. Let's get into franchising. He has number 2 Charlie's in the nation. He brought in $3 million last year. Let's see what we can do, right? So that's when Jeremy starts looking into franchises. And this is where me and him would argue a lot, right? Is that, Jeremy's a health freak. He loves to work out, loves to go to the gym. So he says, well, if we're going to do it, we're not doing Charlie's. We're going to do a healthy spot. And I'm like, okay, but a lot of people don't like healthy spots. So we can't just go based off of what you want. We got to go based off of what would generate money, and profit. And he's like, yeah, no, everybody's going green these days. So he's like, we're doing a healthy spot. And I was like, you know what? Let me pick my battle. Let's just get into the franchising world. And then eventually I'll be able to convince him. So we ended up starting with So Fresh, which is a franchise based out of Tampa, and Grain and Berry, which is another franchise based out of Tampa. They're actually 2 minutes away from here. They're right down the street. And when we started with those, that's when he realized, oh, wait, maybe Victor's right. They do well, don't get me wrong, but there's such a bigger market for unhealthy food that now we have 2 Charlies being built at the same time. And we have 2 Charlies being built. So he actually finally listened to me. And then we also have a donut spot. And now, not only that, Jeremy has his own business, a cookie spot. So I'm looking at him like, yo, you want to do healthy spot? All of a sudden you got your own spot and it's a cookie spot. It's a cookie spot. So we ended up having the 5 restaurants, and then we ended up doing the All In, which is the sports agency. And that kind of fell in my lap. It was just random, right? About a year and a half ago, Jeremy told me, yo, a buddy of mine, he's no longer working at his sports agency. You want to look in sports? And I'm like, yeah, bro, I love sports. I've been doing sports my whole life. Play basketball, football. Let's do it. We brought him in, and now he's our NFL agent. At the time, we decided to make him our NFL agent. And then a week later, I met with George Masvidal UFC fighter, and he came to my office and he told me that he was trying to start a sports agency. So then I started representing fighters.
Yeah.
And long story short, me and Georgie were still good friends. Actually, I was just on the phone with him before I got here, and he decided to do his thing. I decided to do my thing, and I continued with the fighters and the NFL. So now we have a sports agency where we represent NFL players, Jason Pierre-Paul. We got like four NFL guys going into this draft that we represent, and a bunch of bare-knuckle fighters. And I've become so passionate about the bare-knuckle fighting. Like I'm so passionate about it now. People don't know, but I'm going to actually do my debut in bare-knuckle in December. So I'll be fighting in bare-knuckle at 175 in December. So yeah, so I'm excited because there's so many different things. Thank you. So many different things that's going on, but it's like, for me, people's like, yo, why would you do that? Why would you get hit in the face? You know, but I'm like, bro, like, I think that's the coolest thing. Like almost like Gladiator back in the day, coming out in a Coliseum or an arena, and it's like man against man, woman against woman, and it's like almost like life or death situation. But it's like the truest form of combat. No gloves, no nothing, and you're using your bare fists and your bare knuckles. And I grew up boxing a little bit, so I've always had the love for it. Yeah. But I'm so fascinated by challenging myself and trying to overcome that challenge. Or I'm so fascinated by challenging myself by someone else's fear. Like, and when I tell people that, they're like, oh my God, they're so scared of it, right? And don't get me wrong, of course it's scary. You know, go out there, the accident attorney gets knocked out in front of 8,000 people at the Hard Rock. But I never think of it that way. I'm like, and when people say it, I'm like, why you think of it that way? Why can't you be like, the accident attorney goes in the ring and knocks dude out in 60 seconds? Like, why can't you think of it that way?
Give me that one.
So for me, that's how I envision it. And I want to do it just to overcome that challenge. I just want to do a one and done. And I've already told the BKFC, they already know that I'm already training for it. And I want to actually make it happen. So I'm going to do it. So that's just how I am. If I challenge myself and I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
Are you a serial entrepreneur?
Define that. When you say serial, do you mean like, do I just, like, because when I think serial killer, right? He's just going around killing everybody, right? I'm not going around investing in everything. So when you say serial entrepreneur, what do you mean exactly by that?
An obsession. Like Conor McGregor said, like, I'm obsessed with fighting. I'm obsessed. Are you like to the point where, okay, I conquer one, I need to conquer something else, and I'm going to keep going conquering the other different.
Like, it's weird because I fall into all these business opportunities, not because like I'm a serial entrepreneur. It's just that I honestly have a passion for creating a platform and using that platform to help people. And all my other things that we talked about outside of the law, it's me providing jobs, it's me providing opportunities for people, it's me finding a group of 5 creative people that maybe never thought that they would be able to work in a sports agency and use their creativity and then now they're actually leaders, and that's what I'm passionate about, and seeing that growth, seeing the growth in people. That's what I care more about, and I'm able to do that through my entrepreneurship. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
So the whole business is everywhere. That's not really my passion. Yeah. My passion is people. My passion is growth. My passion is development. My passion is leadership. I want to see other people turn into leaders. And I tell all of my leaders now, if you want to show me that you're a good leader, I need to see you turn other people into leaders. Exactly. That's my definition of a good leader. Not you saying, go do this, go do that, pick up my coffee. No, I need you to say, hey, Vic, Raymond is great at this, he's great at that, he's great at that, but he needs to work on that. So I'm going to help him become better. And I see that maturation. I see that growth in Raymond after 6 months. Now you're a good leader. Yeah. And if I'm able to spark that, or if I'm able to help that, or if I'm able to change someone's life, or if I'm able to help someone feed their families, now I feel fulfilled. And that's why at the beginning of this conversation, full circle, I said, I feel like I'm living in my purpose, because I feel like over the time of 5 years, only 5 years, I've been able to, yes, create successful businesses, but also create successful leaders and successful people. And that means the world to me.
With all the things that you're doing, Demesmin Dover is still the bread and butter.
Oh, it will always be. I mean, it's the thing that allowed us to do all the other things that we do, and it's the thing that continues to allow us to do the things that we do. Also, with Demesmin and Dover, I can truly impact people's lives. Like, I can do it with all the other things I do, but there's nothing that compares to what I'm able to do to Demesmin Dover. And I'll give you an example. I have one of my fighters. He was arrested last year. I was with him. I was cornering him in his fight. We were walking to the locker room. All of a sudden, I have 20 guns in my face and tasers in my face.
No.
And no uniform, no nothing. I thought it was some gang stuff, like for real. And I was like, oh, what is going on? All of a sudden, federal agents. They arrested my guy right in front of me. He never got to fight. This all happened at the Hard Rock.
Yeah.
And it was something that he did 3 years ago. Distribution of fentanyl. I was shocked when I heard it because I was like, there's no way. That's like someone telling me Raymond did distribution of fentanyl. I'm like, what? Like, I've known Raymond for all these years. There's no way that he didn't do anything. But I'm just saying, example, right?
Yeah.
Now he's facing 5+ years in prison.
No.
I had my firm represent him. Mm-hmm. We represented him. We argued in federal court. I had him plead guilty. The reason why I had him plead guilty was he had a gun on him, and we did a deal with the prosecutors that if we pled guilty, they would have removed the gun charge. If they removed the gun charge, he no longer has a minimum of 5 years. Yeah. But now he's pleading guilty to the distribution of fentanyl. But it was something that had to be done because if he didn't do it, no matter what, he was going to face 5 years because he had a gun on him at the time of the felony. We got in front of this judge. I'll never forget. This was August 13th this past year. We go in front of the judge for sentencing. Everyone's like, yo, Vic, you got to say bye to your boy because, there's no way he's getting off. This is fentanyl. This is a big deal right now. Yeah. We walked in. Even the lady was like, yo, you have that judge? Yeah, your boy's not going home. He never lets anyone walk. This judge never worked. So I'm already walking in there like, oh, my God, I feel so bad. This is the last time I'm going to see this kid. He's going to go to, who knows what's going to happen to him, right? Judge, we end up playing a video for the judge talking about how he's changed his life. And the reason why it took them 3 years, if you know anything about the federal system, they have a 99% conviction rate. And it took 3 years because they got him doing this thing 3 years ago, but they wait so they can stack up the charges, right? Because they think okay, well, he did fentanyl. We're definitely going to get him again. But they never got him. It was a one-time thing because he didn't even want to do it. He kind of did it out of necessity and the fact that the federal agent was harassing him. He ended up doing it, but it was never a continuous thing. So they never had anything else to stack on. And they waited for the biggest moment of his life to pull him away. Right. So we ended up telling his story. And if you know his story, this guy, both his parents died. Right. His dad was a Vietnam veteran, came back, heroin addiction, stem cells. The stem got AIDS, passed it to his mom. Both him and the mom died. Him and his brother had to raise themselves in the hood by themselves, twin brother. And he had no guidance, no help, no nothing. You know what I mean? And when you understand that story, you can kind of understand better why certain people do certain things that they do. Right. So now I become kind of fascinated by helping not just South Florida with what I do, but also now my fighters. Yeah. Because I could easily be in the position that they're in. If I didn't have my parents that supported me, if I didn't have my parents that gave me the education, all the things and the resources, I could easily, if both of my parents died from AIDS and heroin and all that stuff, I could easily went the wrong way, right? So there's nothing that makes me different from that individual other than the fact that they didn't have the guidance and the support that I had. So now my passion and what I get fulfilled from now is providing them that guidance to the point where this kid's telling me yo, Vic, and he posted, I think I posted it the other day, he posted a picture of me and him and he goes, he's the closest person to my father that I've ever had. I never had a dad. For me, that's damn, I never thought of it from that standpoint, but now understanding your story, I can understand you don't. Exactly. If I have an issue, I can call my dad right now and be like, "Hey, Dad, what do you think I should do?" Da, 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 da. Now, I imagine if I didn't have my dad to call, what kind of mistakes I would have made. I made mistakes. I'm not perfect, Yeah. My dad, like I told you, I grew up boxing. So when I told my dad, let's go to this bare-knuckle, he's like, bare-knuckle? I'm not doing no bare-knuckle. Blood savage. Everywhere. I took him to one. My dad travels all around the world. We were in Marbella, Spain. He'll go to Spain. It's to the point. Yeah. It's to the point now where he's like, don't call me. If you're booking a ticket, just book me a ticket and let me know when we're going. I'll let mom know and I'm there. So
I love it, man. And the thing that I got from that again is similar to what I said. If you build a machine, it will power all of your ideas. And in your particular situation, you built something amazing that was able to help someone who was definitely in need, someone who definitely deserved it. So that's very powerful in itself.
It's to the point now where one of my guys, he tattooed all in on his body. I didn't ask him to do it. He's like, yo, Vic, for life, all in. You know what I mean? For everything you've done.
It's literally to show you that, man, you never know what impact you're really making on someone's life.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, man. So as we wrap up the show, I want to get one last question in. Okay. I have a couple questions. Hopefully we can get you another time, man.
Yeah, whenever.
We didn't get a chance to get through all of them. But talk a little bit about your success and how it changed the people around you. right? And it changed your overall life and perspective and how you approached people around you?
First of all, I'll start off with success is very subjective.
Okay.
Right? My definition of success probably be different. Maybe it might be different than yours. I know it's different from other people.
Yeah.
My definition of success is living in my purpose and being happy doing
Amen
it.
to that.
Whether I was making $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. I never wanted to be one of those people that made a bunch of money that lost sight of my goals, my values, what I truly wanted in life. And that's why if you look at my Instagram, if you look at, I'm very family oriented. I never wanted to be this person that had all this money and I lose my family at the same time. Right. And that happens. That happens a lot, especially in the legal field. Right. You get so tied up in the work and the money and then you lose sight of all that. And it's like, what's the point of making all that money if you don't even have the people to share it with that you were actually originally trying to get it for, if that makes sense. So for me, my definition of success is, just doing what I want to do, the freedom to do how I want to do it, like the way I do my firm, right? And being happy at the same time. With success comes a lot, like you said. There are a lot of people that come out the woodworks. and I can show you a text message because I was showing it to my business partner 2 hours ago. I got this dude, he came to my office like 2 weeks ago. And he said, hey man, he's in the lobby. He grabs me in the lobby, and because I was in the lobby at the same time walking out with a client. Yeah. And he goes, you don't know me, but my mom has the same last name as you. I'm your cousin. Okay. And I deal with stuff like this all the time. And I was like, all right, cool. He's like, can we talk? I was like, yeah, I'm busy right now. He ends up leaving. He sends me a message on Instagram. And he says, hey, I'm your cousin. I'm from Jackmel. Mind you, my family's from Leogan, and my mom is from Kungwab. But anyway, I'm from Jackmel. And he's like, I need help. I need $2,000. Swear to God, I'll show it to you after. And I was like, what? I didn't even answer the dude. But I want him to see that I'm reading it and I'm still not answering him. Because like for me, it's like, how do you have the audacity to come? You don't even know me. And the first thing you do is ask me for money. Yeah. I would have respected him so much more if you would have said, hey, I'm going through tough time. Do you have a job for me? But this dude just wants me to hand him $2,000. I don't even know this dude. Mind you, I got my family to take care of. I got my mom wanting her Louis bag, and I got like this, and my wife wanting this. So like the last thing I'm doing is worried about this dude who I've never ever met. And the thing is, like, if you truly know me, I help so many people out. I just never talk about it. Yeah. I like if you took a poll around my office without my partner even knowing, so many people I helped that, for some reason in a tough time, or they couldn't pay a bill and they couldn't do that. Because for me, it's like, if I have the capability of doing it, then I'm going to do it. Yeah. But don't try to take advantage of me at the same time. So, and I'm not even like an NFL player, an NBA guy that's making like crazy money. I can imagine what goes on for them, especially with those guys when most of their families come from the inner city and they're all underprivileged.
Or someone to some degree helped out with something. I bought you a jersey.
Yeah, like I watched you when you were a kid. Like nah, bro, it's not like that, bro. And so the tough part is like, obviously you want to help people, but it's like you can't help everyone because it gets to a point where you got to help yourself, and even when I was starting to become successful, people see the success and they automatically think you got all this money. They would see the commercials, they would hear the radio ads, and they'd be like, oh, you're a millionaire. And I'm like, bro, if you only knew, I'm only paycheck to paycheck. Yeah. I'm investing everything into the firm. I got attorneys, this is at the time, right? Yeah. I got attorneys that are making more money than me. Yeah. When you came to my office, everything looked great, but I was still building at that time. Exactly. Like it wasn't, what it is now. At that time, there were probably attorneys in my office making more money than me. People don't know that. That's all the stuff behind the scenes to grow a business and make it successful is reinvesting that money. Yeah. The mistake that people do is they make a little bit of money and they go buy a boat or they go buy a Lambo and they go buy this and they go buy that.
That's
so
why you're different.
No, we did it differently, right? And for me and Jeremy, it was always like, hey, let's make sure we do things the right way. Let's make sure we grow it the right way. And I think we've done it now to a point where no matter what they try to do, it can't box us out. We're actually, I feel like we're in our own box, to be honest with you.
I think you are.
And now it's crazy because a lot of people are emulating it, which is, I have no problem with this flattering. And you know me well enough to know I don't hide anything. If you come to my office and you weren't the first person to come to my office, you're not the last one. People come to me all the time, and I have no problem giving people advice. Yeah. You know why I have no problem giving people advice? Gary Vee says it all the time. because 99% of people won't even do it.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you said that you didn't, but you actually did now, right? But you can give people, I can give you the recipe right now, and I guarantee you 99% of people won't execute it. Whether they're scared, they're lazy, they don't want to do it, their mom's telling them not to do it, their wife's telling them not to do it, they're comfortable with the 6-figure job. You know, I was comfortable with a 6-figure job, but it wasn't about a 6-figure job for me. It was much more than that. It was a legacy. It was something that I wanted to build. It was a platform that I wanted to build, and I wanted to do things my way. Was I scared? Yeah. I'm still scared. My payroll is crazy. I have 90 plus employees. So just do the math. Every 2 weeks, how much my payroll is. Right. But at the same time, like Nipsey says it's supposed to feel that way. It's supposed to feel scary. I stress out every day, making sure that my payroll is paid every single 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Because the last thing I would want is for an employee to ever say, I didn't pay them. And it's never happened. It never will happen. Because I'll take it from my own bank account before that happens.
The name
but
is important.
But it's just a part of the process. And you have to enjoy the journey. If you don't enjoy the journey, then you'll never really reach that level of success, because there is no real destination. That's what people don't like. It's like working out, right? You're like, oh, I'm gonna get a 6-pack. I'm gonna get a 6-pack. And then people get a 6-pack and then they go back to losing it again, right? The whole thing about getting a 6-pack wasn't you getting the 6-pack. It was the process it took you to get the 6-pack. And if you're able to embrace the process, then you're able to accomplish anything in life.
Key. That's key. And I think that's the biggest thing that will end on. And I think I'm hoping everybody got from this episode, enjoy the process.
Enjoy it.
Seems like you definitely enjoy the process, and just like myself, right? As successful in 5 years that this empire that my wife and I are building is going to be, I can honestly say that when you gave the advice, there was fear. There was fear, and it was a lot of excuses. And it's like, how do you just pack up and just leave like that? And it was something that eventually had to happen. You know, whether you plan it, whether you plan to leave or you are forced to leave, it's going to happen at some point if it's divine, right? And that's something that faith does. So I'm hoping that everyone who's listening can definitely listen to this model, because more important, the thing that I got from it is that, man, listen, I do it if it feels right. I do it in my own purpose. I don't do it for money. It's just something I want to do because it fulfills me. And if you're doing something that's fulfilling to yourself, man, everything that's supposed to happen is going to happen.
And it won't even feel like work.
Exactly.
When I do the bare-knuckle stuff, I don't feel like work. Some of these guys,
you about to get in the ring, bro.
No, it don't feel like work, man. It's just fun. And like for me, it's like if I'm not having fun, I don't want to do it. And you have to understand that you have to embrace the ups and downs, because even the journey that you're taking and the journey you're about to take, there are going to be ups and downs. It's part of it. I go through ups and downs. Like, I mean, to everyone else, it may seem that like everything is perfect. It's not perfect. It is. I don't want you to think it's perfect for anybody. Right? Even the people that are making all this money, that you hear the Zuckerbergs and all that, they're making a lot of money. They're spending a lot of money too. So like they stress out too. No matter how much money that they got, they stress out, right? And they always stress out about losing the billion or losing all that money. So at the end of the day, that's why you can't focus on the money. Money comes and goes.
Exactly.
If you focus on your purpose and you focus on those other things, you will be fine. There are billionaires right now thinking about jumping off a bridge. I swear to God. You know what I'm saying? They have all the money in the world. And when you realize that it's not really the money that creates the happiness, because money is not like, money will never stop. Like J. Cole said, money keeps going. Like, so you can't really, the only thing that's real is real, genuine love. That Forest Hill album, right? Money is real. I mean, genuine love is really what you're trying to attain. If you're trying to attain money, it never stops. When you get $1 million, you're gonna want 2 million. When you get 3 million, you're gonna want 6 million. So the more you chase money, the more you realize it'll never make you happy. So you have to serve in your purpose, and that's the only way to be successful. While you're serving your purpose, the money will also come.
Absolutely. And the purpose of this show is to explore the hero's journey, and this journey was an amazing one. Thank you, brother, for coming on this show, man. It's going to definitely be an impactful show for everyone watching. Of course, if you are watching, make sure you like, you subscribe, make sure you push that notification bell so you can get a notification every time I post a brand new video. For the most part, man, it was an amazing show. We got to do it again. I didn't get a couple more questions off my pad, but man, listen, hopefully next time when you find some time, we can kind of get it done. Hopefully we can do something live at the bare-knuckle, right before your show. Thank you again, brother, man.
No problem, man. Whenever you need me,
absolutely,
I'm here,
brother.
Here to support you, so.